So this has kind of been, I wouldn't say in the last decade, maybe. It's kind of been on the forefront a little bit in the last decade. This idea called Anarchist Pedagogy. This is another book, Anarchist Pedagogies by Robert Haworth here. And what Robert does is he kind of goes in and talks about different ways, different anarchist schools, deschooling. It goes a little bit about different programs, like when the industrial workers of the world had a workers' people's college. I think he goes a little bit into like the anarchist free school, and in Spain a little bit. Mark Bray did a book on that as well. So check Mark's book out about that. But again, so this is like kind of this new idea that's been coming up. It's Robert Haworth, Haworth, and then his name will be at the end of the presentation as well on the resource list. And so this idea of this anarchist pedagogy is using anarchist philosophy of equality, justice, solidarity, freedom, and nonviolence, culture, and importantly, happiness, while the participant and the educator work together in the same goal. So it's kind of going off a little bit of barrio pedagogy, just a little bit. I mean, at least the theme of it, and, education theorists like Liv Vygotsky has talked about this. John Dewey also has mentioned this a little bit. Sonia Borges talks about in her book about Guinea-Bissau during the 70s when they were doing all this liberation down there in Guinea-Bissau, and how it's about, again, living among people, before people, behind people, that idea. This is kind of where anarchist pedagogy settles at, without using those names in these kind of texts that I'm just mentioning. And some people have done this a little bit without calling them anarchist pedagogy. So like there's like a social justice center up in Madison, Wisconsin. They have a free school up there. They kind of implement a anarchist pedagogy where they talk about, talking about justice and solidarity and freedom and everything. And so they talk about all these ideas in a very organic way. The Black Panthers, through their free school program, is I'm sure some of the Black Panthers will disagree with me on this a little bit, but I would argue that they kind of use an anarchist model, this idea of like deschooling and bringing kids and adults into the communities, into the neighborhoods, and teaching them for free as part of their 10-point program. So they kind of implemented this a little bit. Even in the Occupy movement with our teach-ins is a little bit of an anarchist pedagogy. And there's this one image on, if you're looking at it from your end, on the upper left-hand corner is the Ella Baker Freedom School that I was honored enough to help get off the ground in the south side of Chicago. Without even saying it, we didn't use anarchist pedagogy, but we kind of did that, all the youth there and us, we were learning from each other. We were learning from the kids what their needs are, and they were teaching us things, and we were teaching them things also. So it was kind of like that collaboration that was happening. That was very student-centered as well. And we had a lot of youth from the south and west side of Chicago. So they were bringing in narratives and experiences that I never thought of or heard of before. And so they were teaching me a lot. So this is where anarchist pedagogy is. It's really about collaboration and this relationship between the learner and the educator. And if you develop a study group, that's part of the idea of a study group, right? Is we're all learning from the same text or video or whatever your study group is about, or reading group or discussion group, and you're learning from that person's understanding of that idea, and you're learning from one another. It's not someone telling you, "Oh, this is what this author is saying," blah blah blah. It's really about collaboration. Next slide.